Quickie of Darkness. The First Amendment applies even when the speech is hateful, despicable, and designed to hurt. And that was never more the case than with Westboro Baptist Church and their pastor Fred Phelps. They were well known for picketing things like abortion clinics and pornography, but most visibly protesting LGBTQ issues with signs that famously read, "God hates fags." They were famous for picketing the funerals of homosexuals, police, victims of natural disaster, and over 600 military funerals. This particular case was at the funeral of Lance Corporal Matthew Snyder, a Marine who was killed in Iraq in 2006. They believed that God killed him and other soldiers because of the country's tolerance of homosexuality. They picketed his funeral holding signs such as, "Thank God for dead soldiers," "You're going to hell," "Thank God for IEDs," and "God hates the USA." Albert Snyder, the soldier's father, sued Westboro and Phelps and his daughters for defamation, publicity given to private life, intentional infliction of emotional distress, intrusion upon seclusion, and civil conspiracy. But despite Snyder winning $2.9 million at trial, the appeals court overturned it on free speech grounds, and the Supreme Court upheld the appeal. Chief Justice John Roberts wrote the opinion. He said, "Speech is powerful. It can stir people to action, move them to tears of both joy and sorrow, and, as it did here, inflict great pain. On the facts before us, we cannot react to that pain by punishing the speaker. As a nation, we have chosen a different course to protect even hurtful speech on public issues to ensure that we do not stifle public debate. That choice requires that we shield Westboro from tort liability for its picketing in this case." It didn't help that they were so far away, Snyder couldn't even read the signs until he saw them on the news the next day. The lone dissenter was Samuel Alito. He pointed out that Snyder wasn't a public figure and a funeral was a sacred event. He wrote, "Respondents' outrageous conduct caused petitioner great injury, and the court now compounds that injury by depriving petitioner of a judgment that acknowledges the wrong he suffered. In order to have a society in which public issues can be openly and vigorously debated, it is not necessary to allow the brutalization of innocent victims like petitioner." But he's just wrong. Free speech means you have to protect hurtful and hateful speech because that's the way you protect speech that's important and needs to be said. Because that's going to be hurtful to somebody. There is no such thing as a wrong opinion. They didn't state any facts that could be considered true or false. They gave an opinion, and they gave it peacefully and in public. No matter how horrible the opinion, it has to be protected by the First Amendment or the whole thing crumbles.